this bar out of the way. Hey YouTube, and welcome to my Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls set review. Now I'm going to kick this off by saying that, well, either there's something that's kept me interested in enough in this set to keep a watch in order to feel like a set review is worth doing afterwards, because as I've said before, I don't intend to do them every time a set comes out. Or whether this is just going to be the new trend and I'm going to do things when early information comes out and then another one when the set's finished. But either way, here we are. So if you haven't already checked out my early information video, I'm going to reference it a few times, so you might want to check that out. But if not, it's probably not going to matter. So basically, I'm going to start off by saying that I think this is a very weak set. I mean, obviously, from the get-go, it was intended for Harley Quinn fans and collectors. But with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sets and stuff like that, they try to make everything in the set really good in order to keep people who weren't interested in Turtles interested in the set. And I don't think they've done the same in this. I think this is one of the first sets in a while where nothing completely game-breaking has came out of it. I mean, there's some good stuff, but yeah, I don't think anything is Goblin King or Unimind or anything like that. So I think this is one that it's not going to influence the game a whole bunch. I could be wrong, but I'm not convinced I will be. Hence why I don't think I will be. And I just like to say, on the note of it being a weak set, obviously at the end of my last video, I had interest in about 4 super rares, and I can confirm that I'm now interested in absolutely nothing in the set. I'm interested in stuff. I would trade for it, but I will not buy a booster of this set ever. And there's multiple reasons for that. One of them being that anything that's low rarity I can just get from other people who buy way hard into the set. And another just being that I just don't really have the interest in buying into this. I mean, as I've been saying the whole process of revealing this set, that I don't want to pay into this because I've spent so much on the game recently. And I think this is exactly the set I was hoping they would deliver in the end to keep me uninterested. So, like all of my set reviews, I won't be going through everything, just the things that I think are interesting and the things that I think are worth talking about, some of the new themes and stuff that are in the set, and so on and so forth. So first of all, without further ado, I'm going to talk about 001 Harley Quinn. I'm going to accidentally highlight my entire screen doing it. So, 001 Harley Quinn. Now, I'm just going to say this. I really like this sculpt. I actually think this is a really nice sculpt. And I know this is a different girl, but in all of the sculpture use in this set, and all of the hideous Harley Quinn sculpt in this set, I'm very disappointed that this is the only one of this sculpt. One thing I do like is that in this set, a lot of the Harley Quinns have sensical names. Now, this is a bit of a pet peeve of mine, but obviously when you're reading comic books and stuff like that, you've got to accept that some of the stuff sounded a lot cooler in the 60s and so on than it does now. And I get the same sort of thing because I've been sort of coming up with comic book characters since the age of like 6. So sometimes you look back on something and think, wow, that was stupid. And the name Harley Quinzel is one of those things. There are always going to be some things you can grow to accept in your comic book things. Like, some things you can just accept, but some things are just going to make you cringe. And the name Harley Quinzel makes me cringe. I mean, you could have called her Holly Quinn, Haley Quinn. Hey, you could have just called her Harley Quinn and been like, her parents thought it would be funny. But is Quinzel even a name? If it is, I hate the name Quinzel. I mean, it's like, it's like you were 6 years old and you were trying not to just name a Harley Quinn, so you came up with the first thing that came to mind. I think it's an awful name, and it does make me cringe a lot. And you know what else makes me cringe? The word cringe. You know, it's such a horrible word. Anyhow, I think the dial is pretty cool. For 20 points, you're getting a bit of willpower, a bit of shape change, it's quite irritating. And then 2 clicks of blades on the end. Now, Cobra Fanatics basically have blades with a charge and at the top end. So they're a bit more sensical, but whenever someone is KO'd by an attack, she can take a token off herself, so that's pretty cool, I suppose. I definitely don't think this is a bad figure, but what I do think is a bad figure is the 002 Joker. Now, I hate doing this because obviously if you look hard enough, you're going to find multiple instances where two figures are in completely different levels of playability but are worth the same points. But in this instance, I am going to do this. For 80 points, you could have Felix Faust on your team. You could have Goblin King and an ID card. Screw that, you could have 16 ID cards. This guy, you know, he's not a bad Joker. He does penetrating poison, he's got outwit, he's got mastermind, he's got 7 clicks in him. Sure, he's not a bad Joker at all, but for 80 points, he is a terrible Joker. I mean, look at Haha Joker, that's 50 points. That's 30 points. You could, if it wasn't unique, you could have one of each dial for the same price as this thing. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, maybe 60 points, but even then I'd be iffy on it. I'd like to say 50 if he didn't have that 7th click, but I'm finding it hard to say that, even though these last 2 clicks are pretty collateral damage. The next 2 things I will talk about, because these 2 Manhunters, I think, are brilliant. I think they're solely reliant on the numbers, especially this one who literally doesn't have any special powers. But, I mean, they're going to be good with those numbers. They've got really good numbers, and I think they're both really cool. I remember Big Tony being good. Let me read. Perplex but only to target adjacent friendly characters. Yeah, he's not bad, I suppose. 15 points for Perplex. It's better than the 25-point Perplex Harley Quinn in the Joker's Wild set. I really don't like that. I really don't think 25 points was ever worth Perplex, really. And combat reflexes and kicking her up to an 18 doesn't really make it any better. But yeah. Yeah, I think this guy's pretty cool. Catman's nice to see again, because Catman and Knockout, at least, the last time we saw these was Collateral Damage or Origin. I think Origin, actually, now that I said it. So it's nice to see these back in the game. This is a perfectly fine Blades dial for 50 points. Knockout, on the other hand, I struggle to like this figure, because it's such a dull dial. I mean, there's only so much things you can do with your brutes and your beaters and stuff, but I really just think this is so dull. I mean, the old Knockout had such a long dial, and if you just made that again, maybe give it 8 clicks or something, then it'd be awesome. But I struggle to like this because there's so many things that are just exactly the same. What I will say at this point is, though, that Knockout brings me on to 2 of my new points. Apocalypse keyword and this trait. So I'm going to talk about Apocalypse first. Back when I was a kid, the one thing that I sort of attempted to collect was Apocalypse figures, and then all the Dark Sides started being super rare, or Justice League strategy game, or just not existing at all, and all the other figures at the time were still super rares and stuff, and you know, it wasn't an easy thing to collect. Looking at this set, and I'll talk more about this as we go along, but looking at this set, I'm so glad I stopped collecting Apocalypse figures, because, man, I'd have an aneurysm just looking at all this stuff. The next thing is this Suicide Squad trait that I was talking about. When Knockout is killed, reduce your action total by 1, minimum 1, until the end of your next turn. Yeah, that doesn't make me want to play this boring-ass figure any more than I did already. All of the Suicide Squad people have this, which means a lot of people were complaining that you can't field a good Suicide Squad team because even though there was a lot of support in Joker's Wild, they didn't really rate it. And then they get this Suicide Squad support, and this is awful. I mean, why would you want to reduce your own action total? I mean, well, obviously you won't. It's a downside to playing the figures. The thing is, none of the figures, in my personal opinion, are really worth that downside. And this Apocalypse trait is pretty cool. Basically turns off a whole bunch of stuff, protects them from a whole bunch of stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip over a couple of things here. So you can pause the screen, take a look at all these things if you haven't seen them already. I mean, oh god, look at how boring that Scarecrow looks. He could literally be from Origin with that tile. Maybe some lower defense and attack values. You could stick him straight into Origin and he'd fit in. Alright, Hive Trooper. I like these guys. 15 points, Empower, Energy Explosion. Now, I don't know why they want Empower, if they're relying on Energy Explosion, but I mean, I'm not going to criticize, because there's a lot of cool things you can do with Empower on Swarms. And there's a lot of cool things you can do with Energy Explosion on Swarms too. I really like these guys. I really don't like any of the other stuff in the keyword, but I like that guy. This Asylum Doctor... Outwit and Perplex is good. I think this has its uses for 20 points. I think being able to outwit and perplex someone is pretty cool, but it only works on something 50 points or less. And I've said it with Ghost and many other things. I don't rate Incapacitate as anything anymore. On a 20-point figure, fair enough, but that's probably the biggest thing. Now, this is another very fun figure that I just have to talk about. It's a 15-point generic called Mercenary, with 5 range, 2 damage range combat expert, and a bit of stealth, so not really, you know, it's more of a sniping than anything. And we've got a bit of willpower as well. This looks like a pretty stacked dial for a 15-point figure, although I would rather have the 3rd click of Sidestep. So let's have a read of her trait. If your force is only characters named Mercenary, after resolutions, kill all friendly characters named Mercenary. Okay. So my initial thought on this was that, fair enough, they've done a weird thing and made it so that you are turned off from playing a full team of mercenaries. That's basically what I thought. But then I realised, no, it makes you not want to play mercenary in any amount of numbers. I mean, maybe 1, but like, say you relied a decent chunk of your team on a couple of mercenaries, say 3 or 4, and then everything else dies. Your mercenaries just kill themselves. I mean, like, what? If everything else leaves your team, then they still kill themselves. It doesn't matter if you made the entire team out of them. They still kill themselves. Why would you want to do that as well? I mean, there's so many good figures in the 10 to 15 point bracket right now. 10 to 20 point bracket. Anything like that. 15 to 30 even will go to. There's so many things you can do. Or you can play a mercenary and it can kill itself. I mean, I'm not saying that in that instance it's going to be the last thing to die, but if it is the last thing to die, I'd sure like to try and get a 4 damage range combat attack off before it kills itself. And, yeah, it's that's bad. And as we're seeing with 2 of these things, we're seeing negative traits here. Like, it's really weird. I don't think I've ever seen it in Clix before, where it's just completely downside things. I mean, you got it in, like, early Yu-Gi-Oh sets and stuff, when they introduced, like, I think in Metal Raiders, like, equip cards that just degenerated whatever they were equipped to. But the point was to give them to your opponent's monsters, and this is just hurting yourself. Now, there is already a generic from the Deadpool set called Mercenary, and he's awful too. He basically, when he's knocked out, he goes to your opponent, and then vice versa. I suppose if you could give him this, and then it'd KO itself, that might be something. No. It's terrible. GCPD Officer. Now, for 30 points, it's Enhancement and Empower. And the ability to move 2 friendly characters with the police keyword within 4 squares is pretty cool. But for 30 points, I'm going to pick Commissioner Gordon every single time, unless I have 30 points left and want a bit more maneuverability on my Commissioner Gordon. Now, in saying that, it is a pretty good ability to just rip someone from one place and 1 range combat attack to another place to put the defense down by 2 on that one, and so on and so forth as well. So there are times where this is going to combo with Gordon really well. I'm just saying, if I have 30 points, I'm picking Gordon. My dad doesn't like this Batman, but I kind of do. I mean, it's like, he chooses Sidestep or Willpower, so obviously he's got Sidestep the first turn, Willpower on the second turn, and so on and so forth. I think 65 points might be a bit expensive for him now, because it's really a 50-point dial. But, yeah, I mean, I think he's alright as Batman go. We've had a lot worse. I'm not even going to talk about this. Right, let's skip in a bit. Let's skip to this Harley Quinn. Nope, this isn't the one I thought it was. Right, we'll skip her as well then. That's another okay sculpt. So we're going to skip to Bud and Lou. Let's go there. Okay, these guys are really cool. These copy the keywords of your Harley Quinns. And if a Harley Quinn is moved that turn, they get free sidestep. And they look weirdly like the hyenas from The Lion King. I don't know what the story is behind these two. I figure that's intentional. But yeah. They're pretty cool. One has poison, one has blades. It's nice to see Scandal Savage in the game again. Yeah, I was interested in this Secret 6 sub-theme, but I'll pick these all up for free. Next, I'm going to skip the next thing I was interested in, which is the Sinestro Core Scarecrow. So, perplexed, but only to modify a combat value -1. When he uses it, calculate the target's defense. If it is a 15 or less, after resolutions, deal the target 1 penetrating damage. Now, on the one hand, you can say, and I'm just going to use his own dial as an example here. On the one hand, you can say that almost every dial is going to have a 16 on it somewhere. However, as you can see with Scarecrow's dial, it's at the end. And realistically, what I would be doing is I'd be perplexing this 17 down to a 16 and then hitting him, not hitting him and then perplexing him down and doing the extra 1. Now, obviously, there are instances where you would do that, but you're never going to know if it's going to land on a 16. Unless you, like, know the opposing figure inside out, which, yeah, I suppose is definitely a possibility. I also think this dial is very vanilla. And for 85 points, I definitely think it fits 85 points about as well as the old Scarecrow from the Sinestro Core. I think it fits the Sinestro Core keyword pretty well as well, because everything in it just doesn't really look like it's worth the points to me. And I've played Sinestro Core like 1,000 times and lost every time, and yeah. So, yeah, I'll pick up one of these figures, but only because it's uncommon and I can get it for free. And nothing has a 16 on the top end anymore, so you're never going to put it down, do the damage, and then get to the attack. Like, absolutely nothing does. Okay, so next we'll go to the Hive Commander, because, oh god, look at the next figures now. The Hive Commander, like, running shot Psychic Blast isn't bad, 40 points is. Leadership isn't bad, 40 points is. 2 clicks of enhancement at the end isn't bad, 40 points is. Now, I would just so much rather have more Hive dudes on my team. I mean, obviously you're going to suffer from the action totals, but, I mean, you could get your leadership elsewhere, I suppose. I just really don't rate this dial for 40 points anymore. At 30 and I'm on board. But, yeah. Dr. Harley Quinn Zell. Oh dear. Now, the good news about this is Jane Foster already exists, so this shouldn't be on every team, but this is a damn good figure. I mean, friendly characters named the Joker can have a power action to give her a free action. Probably not worth doing unless you're playing like Haha Joker or one that's not actually going to do anything with its actions. But yeah. Perplex, but only to target opposing characters. Outwit, but only to target a target of a Perplex. And only if it's 100 points or less. That's on a first click only. And then she's got a menagerie of clicks and stuff. Wait, hang on. No, wait. This is nowhere near as good as I thought it was before. No, not every team should have. No, Jane Foster beats us hands down. Fuck off. My apologies for the language just there. But if you want a healer on a scientist team or an Arkham Asylum team, this is a terrible keyword, by the way. Probably a bit better now, but it's pretty terrible in general. And, you know, she's your go-to. Can we talk about this red tornado? I mean, look at that, man. I mean, I like the fact that we're getting red tornadoes that aren't all super rare now. I just like a regular red tornado. Whoa, look at this. Harley Quinn. Yeah, sick. Alright, I like her. That's... Oh, God, the dial's terrible. No, I don't like it. Oh, God. What is this? Oh, it's hideous. Oh, kill it with fire. Harley Quinn, you've let me down. Nah, for 35 points, this is a shocking dial. I mean, I guess the idea is that you get your 10 from the close combat expert, but then you're only doing 2 damage, so it's kind of like, I'd rather use the Atom in every way. You know, I don't rate Incapacitate. The last 2 clicks are okay, but as I say, the Atom is so much better. The ability to move a square is pretty cool. The sculpt is fucking awful. It's fucking horrible, man. I don't know what I thought of this Joker. Which one's this? Oh yeah, it's the lady one. Yeah, she's not bad. I'm not gonna bother talking about her though. Oh god, is this the one I think it is? No, it's not. Where's the Batgirl I was thinking? Is that the uncommon one then I'm thinking of? So I will talk about her. Where's she gone? It's not an uncommon one? Because this isn't her. No. Ah, I'm lost. I've lost things. There's no way it's super rare, is it? Batgirl. I do like this Batgirl, since I'll just talk about it since I'm trying to find the other Batgirl now. I'm a bit lost. I do really like this one. I would get this if I was more interested in the set, and I'll pick one up if I can, I suppose. But ultimately, I don't know. I mean, no, I really like this. I mean, I don't like Batgirl particularly, but I like this one because, yeah, I like Vampire Dials, and the Hypersonic is going to allow her to get into attacks and then also get into cover to not to heal up properly. But only if she's already taken damage, I suppose, because otherwise she's going on to charge and blades and exploit. And my problem here is it's nice to have the option of going for a 6 and minimum of 3, but I would just go for the 4 penetrating nearly every single time. I really, am I going mad because there is another Batgirl in the set and I cannot find her. You know the one that has the whip and stuff. I mean, I'm sorry about this, guys, but is this her in the Fast Forces, maybe? Alright, I have no idea. Okay, I'm just gonna skip that. That's taken far too much of the video. But yeah, the Batgirl that's like, it can take objects whenever your opponent tries to pick them up. Basically, she's got a chance to fling them into her square. That's pretty cool. Oh, it's Batwoman, that's why. Right. No, it's not. It's not even. Where is she? Oh, my life. Oh, God. Right, I give up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, it's Catwoman. Of course it's Catwoman. Oh, my God. I feel like an idiot. I'm not even gonna cut this out. Right, yeah. So, the ability to... she's got a 50-50 chance of taking an object from someone who tries to pick it up and putting it in a square instead, which is going to help because you're going to need these light objects to increase this 2 damage. What the hell is that? 50 points. Not seeing anything being worth it. And for me, Catwoman is the equivalent of Black Widow in Marvel. They're just never going to make one that I'm willing to play. Yeah. So, let's skip to this Harley Quinn sculpt. What's this one like? Oh. What? What? Oh, it's hideous! Oh, good God. Oh, well, it's the eyes that do me. I hate it. Oh, it's horrible. Let's have a look at the Sinestro Core one. Can't be any worse, surely. Oh, it's even worse! Oh, good God, get it gone. Yeah, as I said before, this, you know, I've lost so many times with Sinestro Core that I can willingly not try and get a prime from a set I'm not interested in. So I'm completely passing this by unless I have some miraculous luck in getting one at some stage. I've heard really good things about Kite Man, and for a 15-point taxi, I can't see why he wouldn't be really good. This is one of my favourite figures in the set. He's called Prometheus, and he has numbers that are virtually identical to Jakeem Thunder's. The only thing he's missing is a 4 damage, but he gets himself a perplex. So he's got his choice whether to make that a 4 damage or to do anything else. Now, all he can do is choose a standard attack and damage power. Remember, shape change is a damage power. That counts as a defense power. He's relying on toughness and super senses, and he's only 5 points cheaper than Jakeem. But I kind of feel like he is going to be a much cheaper figure than Jakeem if you wanted to play that kind of team. Plus, he's going to stay in rotation for a year longer. Now, I kind of do want to get my hands on these. I'm not going to go out my way for it, but I think this guy is pretty cool. And I think this guy is... You know, he's not going to turn up in places because Jakeem is better, but he does have the Indomitable. He doesn't have Flight, which is a shame, but it does mean that Jakeem has to pick Willpower every now and then, and the Indomitable takes that out of account, obviously. Can't even pick defense powers at all, which is a bit of a shame, but you can still Eclipse this guy. There's no reason why you can't do that. And you can get an ID card as well for the price of your Jakeem. I don't think this guy is bad at all. I think he's pretty cool. I think any pick power is pretty good, regardless of how limited it is. But yeah. Granny Goodness is one of those Apocalypse characters. I never got one as a kid, and I'm not going to get one now. Pardon me. Oh god. That's incredibly rude. Sorry about that. This Dr. Midnight, again, I think this is his first figure since Origin or Collateral Damage, whichever. It's got a JSA trait, and once per game he can generate a free howl, and he's really cool. He can make smoke that friendly characters then get stealth in, and on his JSA team ability, he reduces the damage by 1. Now, what I do with Jakeem a lot, because you can't pick so many defense powers, is I often sit him in stealth miles away, because he's got a big 8 range, and sidestep and all the other stuff. I usually pick stealth if I can't have a defense power, just to stop any lines being drawn to him, as long as I'm out of charge range and everything, obviously. The fact that he can then smoke cloud Jakeem and give him the stealth, so you don't even have to pick the stealth, is pretty awesome. Now, the thing I never expected with Jakeem was just how many Justice Society figures actually work really well with him. And you notice, reduce the damage taken by an additional 1 if it's a ranged attack. So, if Jakeem was a bit lower dial and Dr. Midnight's defense was worth copying, he could reduce damage by 3. Just saying. I quite like this guy. I'm not going to talk about these title characters in great depth, but what I am going to say is, look at this Joker's dial! I mean, he's 5 points cheaper than that terrible one we saw earlier. He's a title character for that, and he has a stomping dial as well. This is the best cheap, potentially cheap title character dial I've ever seen, I think. The only one that rivals it is Merc with a Mouth. I really don't rate Loki of Asgard's dial because of the stealth. This is, I think, basically quite similar in numbers and stuff, but doesn't have the stealth, has charge instead. And this is an interesting new thing because we are now seeing title characters that are also Pog spawners. Now that is a very exciting time to be alive, because it means, what are they going to come up with next? And now the thing you really need to remember with this guy though is he's basically got his +1 is basically a poison. It's okay. Less limited though. I'm not going to go through everything, but the thing I want you to look at is, when the Joker is killed, for the rest of the game, all friendly characters have, at the beginning of your turn, deal 1 penetrating damage to each friendly character. Now, the problem I have with this is that is awful. That is possibly the worst downside we have seen to a title character so far, because if you can't move your characters, they're all just going to explode on each other, and that's not going to be good, because it's all friendly characters, they all damage everyone adjacent to them. Now, I think that's a pretty bad downside, although I think some of them are pretty awful as is. But I definitely think this is the worst downside we've seen so far, depending on the situation. If you can easily play around it. So moving on from this dude, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a quick look at the Joker Thug bystander he can spawn. Doesn't look like much, does it? Play against Colossal Carnage with a hypersonic player, with a hypersonic figure like Thor Odinson, and tell me that plasticity with bystanders isn't a game-breaking thing. Because you do not want to use a character like Thor to nail a fucking one-hit bystander, well, 2 hits in this case, bystander. But you can't do anything while it's still there. And then Carnage just flings another one there, and if you kill it, the Carnage retaliates on you. Well, yeah, it's not good. It's really not good. I hate Colossal Carnage. Okay. Moving on. Zatanna. Now, I talked about her more in my early information video, and what I'm going to say on this matter is, obviously I was only interested in it because of the Constantine, although I do like Zatanna. I don't have any figures that are actually Constantine, so I feel like I can let this one go as well. And it would be nice if they made a regular Constantine that isn't like an absolute truck knuckle to get, but yeah. Next we go to the next superhero I was interested in, which is King Shark. I'm not a fan of dials that start with flurry or plasticity, although as I've just been saying, plasticity is really annoying now. Sidestep, traded, always good. Even if I think a big shark should have some charge, especially King Shark, because to be honest, he doesn't do all of his fighting in water. He does all his fighting wherever he's doing his fighting. This is a good candidate for Scarecrow's thing, because he does have 3 clicks of 16. 3 clicks of 9s, with no blades anymore or anything. If he occupies water terrain, move him up to his speed value as a free action. That's pretty good. And that is the way he's supposed to charge. Except, as I've already said, he doesn't necessarily do that even in the comics. Now, on the first 2 clicks, he's got exploit weakness with Force and Flurry. Or Blades. And Shape Change, which is pretty cool. But for 90 points, he's got no willpower, he's on 17s, he's relying on toughness. He's got no charge, which is just, don't fiddle about with it, just give things charge. I mean, you made the game reliant on it now, and if you start taking it away, you start making figures like this King Shark, which I'm just not interested in. And I need to move the recording bar back off the screen. Really irritating. In my early videos working on how to use PowerSoft, I kept having it on the screen, and I was like, I'm sure I moved that off, and it's because when you start recording, it moves it back on the screen. This Giganta, there's only one thing I want to say, apart from the fact that, again, it's not particularly good as a super rare. It's also hideous! Absolutely hideous. I mean, this picture doesn't do justice to how ugly it actually is. Same thing with Skyscraper Wonder Woman. Except I would say this is worse than Skyscraper Wonder Woman. Nightshade. Now, this is definitely one I would be interested in if I was more interested in the set. And that brings me back to someone I must have skipped along the way, Enchantress. Now, I don't really want to read through all of this, but the only thing I will say is I really liked the Justice League 52 one, which I got when my dad was basically buying me 10th anniversary boosters. It was like 2 Christmases in a row he bought me a 10th anniversary booster, because there's a thing we do where we make our own crackers, and then there's a tradition of me and my dad putting hero clicks in our ones. So he'd bought me 2, like 2 Christmases in a row. In fact, one year he got me 2 instead of just 1, and he got me a Firestorm out of that, which is pretty cool. Trying to get me a John Constantine, obviously. If he'd kept going before my friend Dave got into the Forbidden Planet, because Forbidden Planet just has a endless stock of stuff that never sells. That's why it took a year for a... That's why we were safe to have a year, and there's still stuff there. But yeah, I managed to get out of the 3 boosters I got. One of them was a Firestorm, 2 of them were Enchantress, the 250 point one. And if she had a bit of willpower, she'd still be good now. This absolutely shames that figure. This piece is terrible. It's got the Suicide Squad trait for a start. It's got phasing teleport, which of course I don't rate because it's not moving attack. It's got shape change for 3 clicks, roll a d6, enhancement and support, or perplex and mystics. You know, it's not bad, but it's annoying. Having to rely on a dice roll for it. Steel energy with close out range attack is pretty cool. Just yawn. Sorry about that as well. Yeah, I think this is a shoddy piece, and you know, I used to combo the for like a 300 point Shadow Pack team, the old Nightshade and the old Enchantress, and it was awesome. And this is just poor. And I'm going to talk about this girl because she is my girl. Of course she is. She's Black Lantern. Red and Black Lantern Harley Quinn. Shame I couldn't do anything about the name, isn't it? I think the dial is amazing. It's nice to have the steel energy traded because so many of the Warlight figures fall off from having the steel energy as an actual power. The giant arm wrestling match is TLDR right now. Read it in your own time. But all I'm saying on it is it's not amazing. And and she's got penetrating poison, but only for 3 clicks and towards the end of a dial. And she knocks Invincible and Impervious down, but again, only in the middle of a dial, so she kind of actually needs to be hit first to do that. But with massive attack, massive defense, hypersonic, and perplex, I feel like she is going to be the one hitting first and running away. This is don't get me wrong, this is an awesome figure, but I don't think this is interesting enough apart from this wonderful sculpt. For me, again, I don't think it's interesting enough for me to be interested in it. I think the King Shark's just going to die every time you play it. I think Zatanna's not bad, but it's not interesting enough. I think Nightshade isn't interesting enough. I think this Harley Quinn isn't interesting enough. But the one thing we can say is, at least they made the Green Lantern one Prime this time. I mean, if this had been Prime, it could have been like Black Lantern Zoom, where that's expensive because it's Zoom, it's Black Lantern, it's super rare, and it's Prime. That is the most expensive Black Lantern, even more expensive than Necron, because of all of those factors. But yeah, there's a lot of Green Lantern Primes because of War of the Light, but, I don't feel bad. Now, how often did you see someone with a sand icon on HC Realms? Because, for the longest time I didn't know what the hell this was, and then I saw this, and I was like, oh, right, that's that guy, and that's why everyone's always complaining about him. No one had a sand, so let's make him super rare. And this is one of my dad's pet peeves, is making unclicked characters super rare when they've been asked for so long. Now, people are basically saying he's a replacement for Frogman, who, much to my dismay, never really turned up. I thought he was going to be on a lot more of my random teams than he was, but alas, he was not. Well, he gives people super senses, regular super senses, with his GSA thing. He's got ranged combat expert, 35 points. I really don't think he's bad at all, but I think people were hoping for a lot more. Now, I've basically skipped over the chases myself. I've seen a couple of them, but it was a bit like Elseworlds for me. I ain't touching this set, so I ain't getting any of the chases. Things I will say though, they sent a concept art picture of this, and the only thing I've ever seen with Metron in it is the old hero click where he's in a green chair, and I took one look at this and I was like, what is this? Like some kind of Elseworlds what if Batman was Metron? Mobius chair. Think about all of the chairs in the DC universe, and I was right. Oh yeah. No, but seriously, I'm glad this God of Death wasn't some kind of Black Lantern thing. I saw this. I couldn't believe that was happening. But some of these dudes, I've had specific requests to talk about, so I'm going to talk about some of them. Now, first of all, one of the requests was for this Flash God of Death. I'll start this off by saying 125 points, Quintessence. No damage reduces at the start, but you can't always expect that with a Flash, I suppose. Opposing characters within 6 squares and lower points can't be healed. That's pretty cool. I mean, with a 14 hypersonic, you're going to be trying to run away from everything, but, it's gonna help you. It's going to be a fun thing. He himself has Steel Energy, though. It is like a good Black Lantern Steel Energy. Regular, after resolutions, when something's KO'd, he heals 1. If he KO'd it, and it was 75 points or more, he also loses an action token, which is a good little boost as well. And on his last 3 clicks, he has Precision Strike. And as a free action, if he has 0 or 1 action tokens, he can make a free close attack. He's got Prob on all 3 of those clicks, and he's still got Quintessence, of course. So he has got... You can clear him, make an attack, give him an attack, make an attack again next turn, make it a free attack again next turn, and attack again. And he's only doing 3 damage, but... And the moving attack's gone as well. But he's pretty nails. And basically you're going to be like, free attack, power attack, free attack, and then it's gone. So, yeah. It's an easy way to heal him up, and it's pretty cool. This is a Flash with big numbers, with 14s and 19s, which is pretty cool to see. I don't know how well that Super Senses is going to go for people, but obviously people are going to stick Eclipse on this faster than anything. And Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. Um, as I say, I'm not gonna go through all of these. I felt like this Shazam was a bit underwhelming. I think, you know, if he was a Kingdom Come figure, his numbers would be so much bigger. Like, 11s and 4s for 200 points on a Shazam? Really? Is that it? I definitely don't think he's bad. I just think he's not worth chase. The Green Lantern God of Light has been criticised for the Harley Quinn in the unit for not being as strong. Like a god, Hal Jordan, isn't as strong as a imaginary Harley Quinn Green Lantern, because I think the Green Lantern, the Harley Quinn Lantern stories was from some kind of diary or something. I read that on units as well. I don't know. You get a lot of conflicting info on there. But yeah, anyway, this guy's pretty cool. I quite like the sculpt. And again, it's TLDR for me right now. Because this video is so long already, I feel like you don't need to go through any more to get through everything. But what I will say is, God, this guy's defense drips off. I think Lex Luthor, God of Apocalypse, is amazing. I think this is an unbelievable figure. Don't know how good it's going to be in a constructed team for 250 points. I think Unimind is going to have its fucking arse. But yeah, I think he's alright. One chase I will talk about though is Wonder Woman, because this is a beautiful figure. This is half the price of the Arkham Asylum one, and the numbers are almost the same, and that is scary. Now this is chase, so I'm never going to get one, but it is fantastic. Opposing characters within 6 squares and low points can't use Outwit. That's going to be helpful to keep her alive. When a friendly character of 50 points or more is killed, give her a determination token. When she would be killed, if she has 1 or more determination tokens, turn to click 8, remove her, all of them, and then heal that many clicks. So, I mean, I don't know how well you're going to get that, or how much that's going to heal you, but it's better than dying, you know? Modified damage +2 when attacking only characters with a deity keyword. Opposing characters with a deity keyword modify -2 when attacking Wonder Woman. Now, I would like a bit of super strength in there as well, to be honest. That is one thing the Arkham Asylum one really does have over her, is the fact that with an ultra heavy she can do 8 damage. But I don't know, I guess if you're playing against deities, which is not going to happen very often, it's okay. Other than that, I don't really like stuff like that. Like, there was a Hercules before that had a random attack power instead of super strength, and I was like, God, this thing's terrible. Grail, I don't think I'm going to talk about. She got big numbers. She empowers someone to destroy the Anti-Monitor. That's kind of cool. I like Anti-Monitor. Leave him alone. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is this Harley Quinn. The OP kit figure. I quite like the look of her. I mean, I like the look of this. This looks awesome. The 3-color combo here. She can make a hot air balloon. That's pretty cool. And she can also make death traps. How do they work? Power action. Give an opposing character a death trap token. When a character with a death trap token is given a costed action, after resolutions, remove it, roll a d6. 1 to 3, deal it penetrating damage. 4 to 6, choose a direction and knock it back a number of squares equal to the d6 result. It's pretty cool because fundamentally for 40 points she isn't chucking out an awful lot of damage. So you can really, you know, take the power action and do that without any worries. Hey look, this one's Harley Quinn as well. Wait, no. Does that mean... No! No, please God! No! It's hideous! Seriously, some of the figures in this set are ugly as hell. And the worst part is I actually really like this a hell of a lot more than I like this. This is just poor. This is terrible. And with that note, I think I'm going to get in my hot air balloon and jump out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm sorry this was so long. I'll see you later.